Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Matt Thompson checking in with you here on the Thompson's Take Facebook page with a very special edition of the Royal Take, a World Series edition of the Royal Take. That's right, for anyone in Kansas City who hasn't heard, you must be living under a rock. But last Friday, in a thrilling ALCS Game 6, the Royals defeated the Toronto Blue Jays 4-3. What a game it was. They advanced to the World Series to take on the New York Mets in Game 1 of the 2015 World Series tonight at 7 o'clock at Kauffman Stadium. But before I get into all that, I want to take just a step back here and talk about Friday night and something that took place after the game. I was lucky enough to go to ALCS Game 6 with my buddy Lucas. We had a great time, and I just got my voice back really yesterday in full. But something that happened after the game, David Glass, the Royals owner, who's been under quite a bit of fire for the last several years for not spending quite as much money as a lot of people would like him to, said one thing that all Royals fans can agree with, and that is, let's go finish the business that we couldn't quite finish last year. Obviously, David Glass referring to the World Series loss last year in Game 7 at Kauffman Stadium against the San Francisco Giants. He said, let's go finish what we couldn't quite finish. Let's win the World Series, in other words, and finally take the crown, bring the crown home to Kansas City. And Ned Yost followed that up with something even more interesting to me. Yost said from the first day of spring training in 2015, the Royals, he said last year it was a surprise to everyone. They made it back to the playoffs. It was a great run, that 8-0 run that we will never forget. But this year, from the first day of spring training, the Royals expected to be here. And I think the players, one thing we noticed, Lucas and I, was that the celebration this year wasn't quite as long-winded as last year's celebration. And I think it's pretty clear why. They're not done. Last year, just to get to the World Series was huge. This year, they want to win. The boys in blue still have that bad taste in their mouth, and they will go out and do everything they can against the New York Mets to win the 2015 World Series. And as I said, bring the crown home to the K and to the Royals fans. Now, the Mets, they're no slouch of a team. The Royals will have their hands full. Tonight is a great pitching matchup. Matt Harvey will go for the New York Mets, and the Royals will counter with Mr. Volquez, Edison Volquez, who's pitched really well at times this postseason, but also has had some struggles, mainly just a few bad innings for Volquez this postseason. But really, the Mets have a very deep starting rotation, and they throw a lot of fastballs, and it's gotten a lot of media attention, national media attention, especially all the guys on MLB Network talking about the great rotation that the Mets have. But what do the Royals hunt? Anyone who has watched the Royals all year long knows that they hunt the fastball. They are a fastball-hitting team, an aggressive team, a team that struck out fewer times than any other team in baseball. I mean, just look at our unconventional leadoff hitter in Alcides Escobar, the ALCS MVP. I won't get on a tangent here, but how's the Greinke trade looking now? Back-to-back ALCS MVPs in Lorenzo Cain and Alcides Escobar. How great is that? And just for the record, Greinke still hasn't made it to the World Series. I don't mean to be too mean or too cruel, but there you go. Anyway, yeah, to move on from that, the Royals really will have their hands full with the New York Mets pitching staff, but they have an aggressive hitting team and a team that hunts the fastball. And many people are worried. I think our rotation is clearly not quite as good as the New York Mets. They have a great starting pitching rotation, and they've got some solid rookies to follow up Matt Harvey and Jacob deGrom and Steven Matz and Noah Syndergaard. But I feel like our pitchers are up to the challenge. I am a little bit nervous for the Johnny Cueto start tomorrow night. You never really know what you're going to get from Johnny Cueto. You can get the ALDS Game 5 dominant Johnny Cueto, or you can get the ALCS Game 3 Johnny Cueto, which that'll make you a little bit nervous. Ned Yost announced yesterday that the Royals will run out Edison Volquez, Johnny Cueto, Yordano Ventura, and Chris Young in the first 4 games of the World Series this year. Man, I tell you what, I'm sure excited, and I know that the city's just electric and pumped up. A little bit of rain in the area today, but that's not going to keep the Royals fans away from Kauffman Stadium and from cheering on their boys in blue. I'm Matt Thompson here on the Thompson's Take Facebook page. I will be back with you tomorrow for a review of Game 1 and a little bit of college coverage from last weekend. Game 1 tonight, 7 o'clock, Kauffman Stadium. Hope it's a great game. We'll see you next time, guys.